Oh, That's Random Podcast. The show with a spin on everyday real life. Random topics that will have you like, what? With that guy, your guy, the one and only Nerdy G.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the show. This is Oh, That's Random Podcast, and I am here, your host, that guy, the one and only Nerdy G. And as you can see today, if you're watching this visually, today you guys get Dr. Nerdy. Yes, you get Dr. Nerdy today because of what the topic is going to be. But before we get to all of that and what today's topic is going to be, ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you support the Nerdy's umbrella brand, company, entity as a whole. Stroll on over there to that good old merchandise store and pick up some nerdy wear, some nerdy gear, some nerdy merch. Also buy the book. Hey, this may not be for you right now. Audible, Amazon, it's out there. Go get it. Okay. It's a quick, good read that get you talking, and that's something that we want to do. We want to talk and we want to be respectful how we talk and what we're going to do and anything that we do. So you clicked on this thumbnail, you saw what it is. Dr. Nerdy's here. And ladies and gentlemen, we all are not the same. We all are not the same. If we were the same, this world would be boring. It would be dull, and everybody would want to pull their hair out. Listen. We need a little chaos. We need a little shakeup. We need people with a little bit of different opinion because that matters the most. Listen, think about this. How do you feel when someone tells you, okay, you're trying to get into an argument with this person and that person tells you, okay, I agree with you. But you're already riled up and you're ready to go back and forth with this person. And it's like, okay. It takes the fire out of you. It's nothing. Right? What's some of the best things that we like to watch on YouTube or on TV? We like to see the battles. We like to see the passion. We like to see the aggression. We like to see people go at each other's throats just to come back and say, it was just a conversation. I didn't take that personal. I didn't take that serious. It was just a conversation. I was passionate about what I believed in, what I thought, and that's that. That's cool. That's fine. But listen, talking to these companies out here, there's a lot of you companies out here that are doing trainings that are preferenced as we're all trying to be on the same page. And I want you guys to understand this. These type of trainings to say that, hey, I'm getting you to do this so that we all can be on the same page, they're just masking it, right? It's masking it to give you more responsibility, right? If I'm going to put you in a training to equip you with some tools for you to be able to use with your teams or for you to use with your employees, that is not so that we're on the same page, ladies and gentlemen. That is me giving you more. That is me equipping you with tools to better serve your people. It's not so that we're on the same page. You're giving me extra responsibilities without telling me that you're giving me extra responsibilities. So if you're going to make me a counselor when that's not a part of my role or that's not a part of my job duties, then pay me more. But of course, the powers that be don't want to pay you more. So what they're going to do is, this is just so that we're all on the same page. This is just so that we have an understanding of where we want to be. And, we know that you're going through some things or whatever the case, or your people are going through some things. And because they are going through some things, listen, here are some things that help them to get through this. Yeah, but that's not my role. That's not my role. Right. But you say, oh, it's so we can all be on the same page, so we all can have the same thought process, so that we all can kind of go and move forward. Listen, is that really what we want? Think about this, right? 70% of these folks in these trainings are going to go out and they're going to do those. They're going to take those things and they're going to do them to the T. 70%. I believe another 20% is going to be like, I see it. I'm going to do it when it come up. But I mean, I'm not going to go out there and push it and be rah, rah, rah. I might do it, but I'm not going to all the way do it. I might half do it, right? Then there's going to be about 10% that's going to say, you know what? I see what they're doing, but I'm gonna try to swag this out. I'm gonna try to make this my own. I see the play. I see what they're doing, but you know what? I'm gonna jazz this up. I'm gonna make it better. Like, we don't have to reinvent the wheel, but when we are what they tell us, hey, when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade, and that's basically the thought process, right? Why would you give me something that's gonna give me more responsibilities? But if my mindset is, yo, take the lemons and make lemonade, for me to remix something just so that you're happy, you profit, but in reality, I just got more responsibility. You just handed me more responsibility, but because my forward thinking says, yo, you just got a bag of lemons, man, just go make some lemonade. Then why would I do that for you? It's not a give and take. You're asking me to do something extra, and you're not going to compensate me for that. I understand. Cool. Don't worry about it. I got it. Listen, we aren't the same. Not everybody is going to do that. But if you're setting it up and you're building a culture and you're surrounding it around this, what you're doing is not only are you inflicting that person's professional life, you're also inflicting their home life as well. Because if you guys know, and I'll talk about this a little bit more later in the episode, I don't believe that there's a such thing as a work-life balance, because you have a life, one life. Apparently, right now, as far as we know, you have one life. So if you have one life, how do you separate your work life and your home life? It's the same life. It's one life. You don't have two lives. You have one life. But like I said, we'll speak a little bit more about that a little bit later on. But listen, let's get to this, right? Because right now, the past couple of years, the hot words out there have been inclusion and diversity. Do people even know what that means? Does people even really know what that means, right? Inclusion, let me give you the definition. Inclusion is the action or state of including or being included within a group or structure, okay? So boys club, fraternity, the Masons, the Freemasons, any boys club, yacht club, country club, anything like that. Okay, it's a club and it's inclusive to a certain group of people, right? But then you throw diversity in, which basically is the range of human differences. So, with that being said, what inclusion and diversity, what are we really talking about? Hey, welcome to this boys club. Because you're white, because you're Mexican, because you're black, because you're Indian, we have diversity in here. We're a diverse group because we all have human differences. We all are humans, but we all have differences. We all come from different backgrounds. So because we become from different backgrounds, then that's the diversity part. But let's check this out. If the differences is the backgrounds that we come from, inclusion and diversity can be a boys club of white men that all came from different backgrounds, trailer park, suburb, middle class, upper class. That's still inclusion and diversity, and it doesn't have to be predicated on if you're a white, black, Hispanic, Spanish, Indian. So what are we really saying when we talk about inclusion and diversity? It's a misdirect. If you ask me, it's a misdirect. Inclusion and diversity is a misdirect. I seen a sign, and I'm just letting you guys know this is how I got here. I seen a sign that said inclusion and diversity, and I saw nothing but white people up on there. And I laughed. I laughed at first because I thought this was the most funniest thing that I've ever seen, just because it says inclusion and diversity. And the way that inclusion and diversity was presented to me is, it's mixed backgrounds all coming together for one cause to one thing. Well, if there's nothing but white people on this billboard, then that's funny to me, saying inclusion and diversity, and there's not one ethnic person up there, and it's just all whites. Well, according to diversity, the definition of it is just a range of human differences. And if we're talking about different backgrounds, then goes back to my first point, right? I can be middle class, I can be from the trailer park, I can be poor. As long as I came from a different background than any one other person in this group, then it's diversified. Labels. I can go on and on about labels, because we have to put labels on people, because that's what at least what America does. America has no choice but to put labels on people, because that's what we do. We label everything, down to our cereal, down to our socks. We love labels. We chase labels. That's what America, people, culture does. They chase labels. There's no real reason to chase labels, but it's been that way since we were born, right? Listen, even when you're teaching your kids, even when you put the little labels on the little storage thing, here's a label. This says socks. Here's a label. This says your underwear. Here's a label that says this is your undershirts. We start our children off at a very young age to identify labels. And then as they get older, right, that boils over into people, where we start labeling people before they even get to experience people. All I'm saying is, we know for a fact that as children, we're innocent. We'll play with anybody. We'll talk to anybody. There's no guards. There's no windows. There's no blocks. There's nothing up. We'll go and we'll talk and we'll play with anybody. But at some point around those adolescent years, that changes. For whatever reason. I know it may seem like I'm bouncing. Yeah, that's right. It's Dr. Nerdy here, right? And I call myself Dr. Nerdy because that's what I am, right? In this instance, this is what I'm giving you. These are the psychological things that society is putting out there. Not only society itself, right? I want to get away from the society talk, but it keeps bringing me back, because every time I hear something or I see something and it just pulls me in this direction, I feel like I have to talk about it and I have to get it out. It's therapeutic for me, right? And I don't mind that. I know in life, everybody wants to think that there is a one size fits all. Life doesn't work that way. Life is not a one size fits all. If you look around us, around you, there are levels to everything. Look at the schools, look at the video games, look at your work life, look at your social life. There are levels to everything that we do. And it's not a bad thing. It only becomes bad when upper levels feel that they are superior and they try to take over the other levels. That's when it becomes bad. That's when it becomes out of, control. That's where now we're dealing with something different. We're not dealing with what we thought we were dealing with. Right? That's where the issues comes in at. That's where the classism comes in at. That's where the racism comes in at. Right? Everybody can be on a certain level and still get along and be happy. There are different levels. It works. I like to say that the medieval times, they had it right a little bit when, to a certain extent. Yeah, everybody had a level. They knew where they knew their place in the kingdoms. But at the same time, I disagree with the fact, hey, if your dad was a blacksmith, you have to be a blacksmith. But what if I'm good at baking? I want to be a baker, right? No, your dad's a blacksmith. You got to be a blacksmith. I'm not a fan of that. So you can learn from the past and you can adapt. You can change. You can make some changes. And it's not hard to make some changes. Just saying that out right. But who am I? I'm nerdy. That's who I am. Dr. Nerdy today. Listen, sometimes these upper levels, they just need to stay in their lane. And once they stay in their lane, it's all fine. Listen, There are people who do brunch. There are people who are brunch people. Guess what? Brunch people, stay in your lane. Enjoy your brunches. Enjoy what you do. Enjoy that. Love that. Be that. There are gamers. Hey, I said something about you guys last time. But y'all stay in y'all lane. Listen, everybody has something different, and that's what makes the world goes round. That's what makes the world go around, because there is something different. There is something that everybody feels. Everybody has a passion for something different, and that passion, like for me, I like to listen. So if I find myself interested in your work, your lane, or whatever the case may be, I'm open to listening. I'm not trying to come in and try to take over your deal, right? It's not the let me walk into your job and tell you how to do your job mentality. I'm not that. It's you tell me about something that you love that you've been doing for years, or this is something that you've been looking to and you're now in it. Share that with me and I'm all for it. I don't have a problem with that. Right? That's the way I live my life. I'm not telling you to live your life that way. I'm not telling you to have your life to be a one size fit all. But understand that you have to acknowledge and recognize that there are different levels to things that we are doing in life. And it's just that. Once you understand that, once you accept that, and once these folks that want to classify themselves on higher levels or whatever the case may be, as long as they stay in their lane and they don't try to dominate the other levels, it's all fine. Maybe levels is not the word that I need to be using, because levels indicate that somebody is above one level is above the other level. But even if you want to call it social groups, or whatever the case, you can call it social groups, wherever you are at, to me, that's where we need to be, right? There's enough room for all of us to live in our own skins and be happy and be able to understand what somebody else's opinion is and still go have a beer with them and not want to fight them or claw their eyes out or anything like that. They feel this way. That's cool. That's fine. I listen. I understood. Just because I understand doesn't mean that I necessarily agree. Always. That's nerdy. Another thing. There is no such thing as work self, home self, period. Unless you on some of that Severance, Apple TV stuff, okay? That is a great show, not plugging it, but if you just so happen to have Apple TV and you decided to needed something to watch because, the writers are still on strike and the actors are on strike, I stand with them. But if you need a show to watch, that's probably a show that you probably would want to watch for this per se. But listen, you have one life, and like I said earlier in this show, you have one life to live, right? When you go to work, either you are a turned up version of yourself or you're a turned down version of yourself. When you go home, it's vice versa. Either you're a turned up version of yourself or you're a turned down version of yourself. You have to be the one to accept that. I know that some people use that phrase, fake it till you make it. And some people go to work and they do be fake. But you don't have to. You can go to work and you can be yourself. And it's just what volume level do you want to give your work? What volume level do you want to give your home? I've seen people at work quiet as a church mouse. Never said nothing. But when you go in and they invite you into their life and you're like, who is this person? It's the same person. It's not a different person. It's just a person that says, at work, I choose to be a turned down version of myself because I feel like in a professional atmosphere, this is the way that I'm supposed to act. So I'm still going to be me. I'm still going to have these little quick witty things, but I'm not going to go overboard with it. I'm not going to put myself out there, but I will have these nice little one-liners. And then if I invite you into my home, if I invite you into my personal life and you see this is times 10 on steroids, that's what it is. It's one life, the same person, the same thing that you are. You just decided, hey, at work, I'm turned down. At home, I'm turned up. version of myself. And that's fine. And that's okay. That's okay. And I know that people will say, okay, hey, well, there's barriers that we set up because we don't know who's really for us and who's rocking with us or who's not rocking with us. Yeah, I get that. People do set up set up boundaries. My bad. They set up boundaries just because of things that they have experienced in their life. And that's okay. Because if you don't if you don't experience anything in life, then what are you doing in life? And I get that. But don't say that it's a work-life balance. No, it's not a work-life balance. If you're talking about a work-life balance, if you're talking about those people who put in 12 hours because their company is putting these pressures on them and saying, hey, you got to get all of this work done. You got to get 12 hours of work done in 8 hours. If you're talking about balancing that out, okay, well, the easiest way to balance that out is give me 8 hours of work to do in 8 hours. Don't give me 12 hours of work to do in 8 hours. Simple. That's not a hard balance at all. Just don't expect me to put in 12 hours worth of work just for 2 or 8 hours. That's it. There's no, in my opinion, there's no such thing as my work life and my home life, unless you're out there faking it till you make it. But nobody should, in my opinion, wake up and go out there and be a caricature of themselves. Go out and be who you are and decide where you want to turn that dial up. Either it's going to be a 5, or I'm going to give you a 2, or I'm going to give you 10, whatever you feel comfortable with. But whatever you do, just continue to be yourself, right? All right. I'm not going to be the one to beat a dead horse because that's not nerdy. That's not what I do, right? Dr. Dirty doesn't do it either. But listen, don't get mad when someone disagrees with you. Just be happy you had somebody to spar with intellectually, right? Because if somebody said to you, okay, and they agree with everything that you said, you wouldn't like it. It would drive you nuts. Don't believe me? Go back and look at Coming to America, the first one. I know what I like, but what do you like? I know what I like, but what do you like? Whatever you like. Whatever you like. So you'll do anything that I tell you? Yes. No. Yes. It don't make no sense, right? So listen, the world would be boring if everybody agreed, if everybody was the same, if everybody was a one size fit all. It would be boring. The trash TV, the trash stuff that we listen, some of the things that we put into our minds that when we are tired from a day's work and we just want to sit back and we want to laugh, we want to pick up our phones and, go to TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, whatever your vice is, right? And you just want to see some comedy, you want to laugh and joke or whatever. We need that. But if everybody was the same, Facebook wouldn't be fun. TikTok wouldn't be fun. Instagram wouldn't be fun. Because if everybody's doing the exact same thing that you're doing, it's not fun. We all aren't the same. And I'm happy that we all aren't the same. I'm happy that we all aren't cut from the same cloth. Got another story about that, but that's for another time. I'm happy that the world goes around the way that it does. All I'm saying, guys, be careful out there. I know I bounced around. We all aren't the same. Companies, you stop trying to get everybody to be the same and have the same thought process in getting them to do extra things or whatnot. Stop using this word inclusion and diversity because you guys are using it wrong. And then the people who are pushing it, it's one of those popular words. It's one of those words that's just out there. Stop it. Of course, once again, this is not a one size fits all. And remember, you only have one you. It's only one you, unless you're a twin, identical twin with the same DNA, whole different story. But you guys, y'all still a one, but y'all living two separate lives. Never mind. But back to what I'm saying, not to lose my point, but just be happy. Be happy with yourself. One size don't fit all, except that either you're a turned up version of yourself or you're a turned down version of yourself, right? Let's not get mad. Let's do that. But you guys know what it is. Let's listen to some music, and then we'll come back and I'll close out this show. So let's get to it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was just Doing My Best by Tuxedo. I'm loving them. I just recently found them, and I love their music. So that's what it is. If you're on YouTube, sorry you didn't get to hear that, but you can go check that out. It's called Doing My Best by Tuxedo. Listen, remember, this podcast aims to foster open-mindedness and respectful dialogue, right? Remember, we are here to where every day becomes extraordinary, where we explore the extraordinary and ordinary. So that's here. That's this. This is That's Random Podcast. I am your host, Nerdy G. Once again, please go get the book. This May Not Be For You. Slide over to Nerdy's Umbrella to get you some of that nerdy merch, right? There's something for everybody there. Also support the channel. Like, thumbs up, subscribe, share. More coming, right? It's not only just me. It's a group of us. It's an umbrella. So if you know anything about the umbrella and what it stands for, support the channel. Until next time, I am your guy, that guy, the one and only Nerdy G, and this is That's Random Podcast. I'm out.